everybody, MBG here today with a first look video review of the new Tantive 4, of course, for Star Wars X-Wing miniatures. This is a new release. It just came out, and it's, of course, the second capital ship to be released for this game. It's a pretty neat kit. It's got lots of moving parts. You got the turbo, or not the turbo laser, but the quad laser cannon here, turret, and then you got the little turbo lasers that don't move, and then you got this radar dish to give some Wi-Fi and stuff like that to the fleet. You can use it as the standalone Tantive 4. It's got a couple of different ship titles you can also play it as, or you can flip this thing over right here and make it just a debris or obstacle, I guess it's called. Sorry. Sometimes I am at a loss for words, and I apologize to all you loyal viewers out there. But you can make it an obstacle. You flip this over. It's got the little star field, and you can play around it during your normal games if you only have like a 4x4 foot space to play on. The official designation for this is the CR-60 Corvette, but like I said, it's a Tantive 4. There's a couple other variants that you can use it as. As far as how it stacks up size-wise to the CR-60, which was previously released a few weeks ago, you can kind of tell right there. It is a little bit bigger. I'm not exactly sure if any of these things are in scale to the smaller fighters, because it doesn't seem like they are, especially the large ships. These are, of course, being the huge ships. The Millennium Falcon and things like that are the large ships. So I'm not sure what exactly is supposed to be in scale and what's not, but I still appreciate it and really thank Fantasy Flight for the opportunity to play this great miniature space combat game, because it's just a fun game. And if you haven't tried it out yet and you're just watching this channel because you like the other stuff we do on here, then that's cool. Definitely give X-Wing a try. I'm sure you can find it at your local FLGS, that's friendly local game store, or you can check out reviews and stuff online and pick up a starter and go from there. I think Barnes & Noble sells a lot of this stuff too, as well as Spiky Bits, of course. Spiky Bits online store. Never, don't forget about us if you if you don't mind. So back to the kit here. Move this out of the way. Kind of show you a lot of the things that you get in the actual kit itself. It's going to come with a ton of swag here that you can see. So you get the ship, you get the movement dial, and we're going to get to the new extended range marker. Then you got your movement templates, a whole bunch of extra energy tokens and things like that for playing, a whole sorts of upgrade cards. You got the fore and aft damage deck. It's very similar in mechanic and how it works to the CR-60, but we'll go over that in case you're not familiar with that. Some more objective stuff, shields, ion tokens, and modifications and things like that. So we'll be right back with a top-down look at some of the new cards and just kind of talk about things. Okay. So here's the CR-60, the Corvette, from the top-down view. So you can kind of see a lot of the detail here. It's not quite as dark as the CR-70 or anything like that, but it's still got a nice wash on it and things like that. So I think the retail's about $90, and it's like I said, I think it's worth it. I mean, you get the CR-70 in one ship for $90, or for $60 rather, which is almost like, two large ships or three small ships, and then this one's almost like two CR-75s together, but it's less. So I still think in the realm of value, you're still kind of getting value here. I have no idea what they would even figure out pricing a Star Destroyer kind of class thing at. I don't even know where we go from here as far as big ships, but I guess we got Wave 4 coming out next month, so that'll be pretty neat. So the normal mechanic here is, of course, that you've got these two different fore and aft sections, and the fore on this one has this special 360 art because you can use this to shoot 360. And let me show you the cards here, just to kind of give you an idea of what I'm talking about. So it's automatically going to have, oops, you can't see that. So it's automatically going to have an attack in the front arc using this 360 here, which is pretty neat because it's got 4 shots at range 3 to 5. Now let's talk about that. So you've got the normal range rule that you guys are all probably pretty used to. It's got your 1 through 3. Well, they have an extender to it, which is pretty neat. So it extends it out. Now I'm sure the first thing I assumed was that that's 6, but what you do is you lock it in here at 3 to 3, and then it actually ends up only being 5. So at your range 5, you're doing some crazy stuff, which is kind of fun because it's good for capital ship versus capital ship, right? So it's not so good against some fighter stuff. This is actually good against fighters, and we'll show you that. But the turbo lasers not so much, and they covered that kind of in the canon of the movies, that the turbo lasers are really meant for ship-to-ship combat, and they're really not meant for targeting small starfighters. That's why they kind of got in the trenches of the Death Star and things like that, and were able to do some damage. You've got the normal actions that we saw, at least with the GR-75. I mean, they're obviously newer than what we're used to. So you've got the energy where you allocate out energy. You've got recover. So let's show you here. So you've got your what is it? So you got your coordinate action. You got your target lock, of course. Then you got your recover, and then you've got your reinforce, and then of course you allocate out energy to do certain things like that. The reinforce is just the normal, basically it's a cheating way of getting an evade token, because you can't have any tokens on these things, and that's why the turbo lasers are so good, and we'll get to that here in a second. Target lock, self-explanatory. We've seen that mechanic from day one. Not going to get into that. Coordinate is pretty neat, because what it does is you can choose another friendly ship at range 1 to 2, and the chosen ship may immediately perform one free action. So that's neat, because you can get some crazy combos off, if you think about it, with some sorts of things like that. So then you've got the recover as well. So the aft ship card shows that icon, which is right here. And this is very important, like that these are separate, because your energy is actually allocated and stored back here, where it's got lower shields, where in the front you've got 5 shields, but it has most of the offensive, actually all of the offensive capability goes up here, because you can't put certain things in certain spots. So it's a very important distinction to make right there. And of course, if I do make a mistake in this video, please don't crucify me. I haven't actually played with it. I've watched a couple games, but I always reserve the right to backpedal at any moment and make counter accusations, because we're not all right. I realize we all make mistakes, and I do my best to really show off these things and showcase them and give a really good review on what I think, you know, a fair and impartial review. And that's all it's here for. And I really appreciate you guys that comment and really like my stuff. But, you know, I am not 100% correct, nor will I ever be, and I apologize. It's just, it's impossible to be. I really wish I could. So anyways, that's the recover. So you basically get to remove all the energy tokens from the CR-70 to CR-90, the aft section, to boost your shields, which could be actually in either of the sections. So you do have to read everything very carefully. The thing I wanted to talk about that's a little bit different with this ship as opposed to the GR-75, which is the Rebel transport, is the way energy works. Now, depending on what you move on your movement dial here, and I'll just show this to you really quick, because I don't think I have a printout of. Well, it might be on the back of this. Yeah, there it is. Cool. Well, that makes it easy. So right there is the actual energy you gain from your movement. So any of your smaller movements right here, you're going to get 3 energy. The longer ones, you get 2 and 1 respectively. So that's something to keep in mind. But what's neat about this ship is it's got some stuff on it that you can actually allocate energy out to. You can always allocate your 5 out. If you get 5 max of course, you can allocate 5 out to the rear section here, which is where you store the energy. So boom, hey, I can have 5 energy here. Okay, cool. But then during the specific phase where you allocate out energy, so you gain energy from your movement to allocate, cool. Then you allocate out energy. So say I go, we'll just do something here. We'll just say, let's go 2 straight. Alright, so then we get 3 energy. Okay, cool. So say this is my first move. So I'm going to get 3 energy, and I'm just going to take it, and I'm going to put it on. Say I got a couple turbo lasers, because I think I'm going to go up against capital ships, and I'll take a quad laser too. But there's also this other nifty card here, which might be fun to allocate some energy out to intermittently as you have an extra 1, just depending on what you want to do. If you expect to not take a lot of damage or things like that, is you can allocate out 1 energy here, and when you get 5, it kind of like boom, does this EMP pulse, which when you combo it out could do some crazy stuff. And then you can throw some energy on another one of these cards here, like the quad laser cannons, which are really devastating against things like fighters. But against, turbo lasers are only really super effective against capital ships, because what happens is it doubles the agility of the target. So say you shoot at, like, I don't know, say a TIE fighter, which I think, or a TIE interceptor, which I think is agility 3. You basically just gave it agility 6. So the chances of actually hitting and doing damage to that TIE interceptor are really low. But say you're going against another capital ship, you just double their agility. Oh wait, it doesn't matter for agility. Oh, okay, cool. So they're way more effective against capital ships than actual fighter jets or fighters. So that's their design. And I know some people are already hating on it and didn't understand how they worked. And I was just like, hey, it is what it is. That's kind of how they work. So these are your anti-fighter, these are your anti-capital ship, ship-to-ship combat broadsides, things like that. Really fun. So that's kind of how all that works. And then there's a ton more of really nifty. I'm not sure if this strategy actually works. That's just a strategy, my first look strategy at it, where I just kind of formulated in my head. I was like, oh, it might be cool to just, just start saving up some energy on different things there, and then you're able to, just do some cool stuff later on in the game, because you actually, I don't think there's something that can force you to lose energy from a card, which is right in the actual rules itself here. They allocate energy, so that's pretty cool. So now we've got some of the crew cards here, which we kind of saw first with the Millennium Falcon. And definitely some old friends there. Let's see if we can zoom in on it. Get you in here tight on these new cards. And there we are. So, pretty cool stuff. They're all decently effective. I think Targeting Coordinator is one of my favorite there. R2 gets an actual non-astromech card, which is kind of neat. C-3PO, never tell them the odds, right? Sort of thing. So that's pretty cool. Definitely some neat stuff there. I could see some combos. I mean, these are all things that you could take on your normal ships, which is pretty neat. You just... Oh, first of all, let me apologize to the Imperial players, because there really isn't a whole lot on this, in this kit, that's super beneficial to you, and I apologize for that. But there is some really cool stuff for Alliance players, which is really neat. So there's that. Like I said, there's a couple of different title cards. You got the Tantive 4, the Jaina's Light, and the Dordona's Pride. So very neat stuff there. Very cool to see. I'm sure we'll see a lot of new meta and things like that between this ship, the CR-60, and the new forthcoming Wave 4 ships that'll be out. So, and then here is, of course, didn't really mention this, and I apologize. There's two different decks depending on which section you're shooting at, and those actually correspond to, fore and aft on their card. Interestingly enough, the critical hit is only in the fore section. So that was, I don't know why they did that, but on this one there's 2 critical hits in here and there's none in here. So it's very, keeping that in mind, you can do some tactful plays on what you target, because this one has higher shields than this one, but this one controls the energy, so it's like, I don't know. I'm sure there's somebody out there will come up with a really cool plan on how to take one of these things out with, a certain tactic or things like that. But for right now, it just kind of escapes me. If you haven't seen basically how these things move now, this is the new movement dial, or movement template rather. It's kind of like a one template fit all thing. And the dial you can get up to 4, of course, on, or you can turn. And what it does is you basically line it up with the center line here, and then you would move, like, say, let's see. Okay, so say we do 2 forward, we would basically just go 2 forward like that. Super easy, very simple. If you're going to perform a turn, you basically lock it in here, right there on that cut, and then move it, turn it, and move it up to how far you turn, kind of like that. Actually, so say you turn 1, you would go up to here. Turn 2, you would go up to here, kind of like this, but holding the model very carefully, so because the problem is with these things, whatever they hit is basically destroyed. So you want to be very accurate if you just plow into, and you actually take damage too. You flip like an obstacle, flip damage like an obstacle. So you want to be super careful with that in your movement and your placing. And I mean, it's easy to get both hands up on here. I'm just running a video camera at the same time, so it's a little bit more difficult. So I think I covered just about everything there is to cover with this. Of course, you get a nifty rules manual that explains everything to do with it, and then there's also a sweet campaign booklet. This is probably the first time. It's pretty thick. I think it's got about 6 missions, so there's a whole nother campaign booklet there too to run through with your friends. So that's pretty much it for this one. If you like the Star Wars stuff, make sure you check out the subscribe to this YouTube channel, but check out, we also have a whole video playlist of these things too. I think we're up to about 8 or 9 of them in here, give or take. Check out the blog, spikybitsblog.com. We got tons of X-Wing articles on there, tactics and reviews and unboxings and things like that. And listen to our podcast. It's forgenarrative.com.